Hide and Seek TV. I'm about to get ready to do a very deep breakdown on Amelia Earhart and what really happened to Amelia Earhart. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna delve deeper into this on like a spiritual level and what all of this was truly conveying because this is a very serious, serious situation, y'all. And I'm gonna tap deep into it because first off, what I want to talk about is if you're familiar with her, you know that she was the first woman to fly alone across the Atlantic Ocean. And remember when she was which she actually left from Miami and she flew on out and then she ended up dying and disappearing, over the Pacific Ocean. And I'm gonna delve deep into all of this, y'all. And it blew my mind as I was really paying attention to this. So I'm about to chime real deep into this. Yes, too, she died at 39. And when I'm gonna delve deep into this. But what's so deep about it is like how she flew over the Pacific Ocean, and that's when she went missing. But what I noticed too is how she went missing for 18 months, y'all, and she was 39 years old. And what tripped me out on that is how she died July 2nd. She died July 2nd, which is the time of the Cancer. You feel where I'm going, and I'm gonna take this deep. The Cancer zodiac, the crab. And what's so deep about that, they said that how they found her dead was they said that she most likely was eaten and consumed by crabs that dragged her bones into the burrows. Notice how that whole aspect represents because this right here is so deep when you pay attention to this because when you understand the whole aspect of the Pacific Ocean, which is so deep about this, Pacific Ocean is nothing but the ring of fire. You know what I mean? And what's so deep about that, if you already know about Godzilla, obviously you would know the Leviathan aspect with the Ring of Fire. And what's so crazy about that too, what I really paid attention to, what tripped me out, is just the horse latitudes, in the Pacific Ocean area. And you already know about this because what tripped me out is like, remember you had Little Nas X. You feel what I'm saying? Little Nas X with the Old Town Road. And remember, this is why he had to be used to do the Old Town Road with the, take my horse. And you notice he's in a red car. I'm gonna get into that in a minute. But what I want to really mention on this whole aspect is how Amelia Earhart, how she went to the Pacific Ocean, and that's when she went missing. And notice how they said that she was consumed by crabs. Because when you understand the whole aspect of the crab, which I was talking about, the crab sign is water. And when you understand the crab arms represent nothing but the whole aspect of like lifting you to heaven. This stuff is that deep. Hence why they said that she went into the ring of fire. Because when you understand it too, with the whole aspect of the Messiah, and it's so deep, y'all, because when you understand the whole aspect of the Messiah, you remember he goes into the bowels of the earth. I'm gonna get into that later because I'll be speaking on Kobe too. And Amelia name anyway don't mean nothing but like the daughter of the prince. Who is the prince? AKA the son, the Messiah. But I'm gonna delve deep into this because it literally tripped me out how she started out in Miami. And like I said, she came out of the Atlantic from Miami, which is the Tropic of Cancer. You know what I'm saying? It's that deep, y'all. See how they said that? How she was consumed by the crabs, which is the Cancer sign, which represents the arms of heaven. This is why she had to go into the ring of fire because that represents going into like the bowels of the earth to ascend. Is this stuff is that deep, and the whole aspect of how she was the first woman. You feel what I'm saying? They said to fly out, across the Atlantic alone. And notice how anyway Satan uses the female in this sense. I'm not talking about Amelia, but I'm talking about like in the next sense, like how Satan is using the female in this time now to make everything more effeminate. Because what Amelia Earhart, what that represented was like the whole aspect of Israel going through like the Messiah, the bride of God, Jerusalem, going through the fire and coming out refined and renewed. But I'm gonna delve deep into this because the Tropic of Cancer, when you understand that it's at 23.5 latitude, and what's so deep about that is Psalms 23 5. It clearly say, "Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil; my cup runneth over." Hint the whole aspect of the anointing. This stuff is this deep, y'all. And when you understand the Tropic of Cancer too, the Tropic of Cancer is the furthest north of the earth, the furthest north part of the earth. where the sun rays are basically giving off the most energy. And at noontime, remember the Messiah was crucified at noon. And what's so deep about that is because when you understand the whole aspect of that, with like the whole aspect of that with the Tropic of Cancer, which she left all that in Miami, hint the whole aspect of the Bermuda Triangle. And I'm gonna get into this later on, but just pay attention to how the Bermuda Triangle is literally pointing towards the Gulf of Mexico. The highest point is pointing towards the Gulf of Mexico. I'm gonna delve deep into this because this stuff is this deep, man. Talking about the part with the whole aspect of the highest point north, hint the whole aspect of the Illuminati pyramid, removing the cap piece, because all the cap represent is nothing but the Messiah. Hint, as it's written anyway, in Psalms 118:22, that the cornerstone, the one that the masons, the stone builders reject to use, have become the headstone of the corner, aka the Messiah. This stuff is this deep, man. And I'm about to take it even further because you see how she went missing. Like I said, she went missing in the Pacific Ocean. When you know about Hawaii, Hawaii was literally made by what? By volcanic eruption, by fire. And when you notice how she took off in Florida, when you understand Florida, I'm gonna get deep into that later on. But when you understand Florida, Florida aspect represents, how the palm trees is and it's always like, hot temperature. I'm gonna get into that later. And California aspect, the West Coast is you have the palm trees and everything. It's like the left and right hand side. But when you understand that too, which is so deep, Hawaii during the Civil Rights March, this is the Selma to Montgomery March for voting. And when you understand voting anyway as democracy, aka demon possession, that's all democracy, demo, demon, and then Chrissy mean possession. So when you understand that this stuff is that deep because Obama was born in Hawaii, but I'm gonna get into this a little later on. But when you understand that, that's why the first march, when they tried to march without basically they was trying to just march, all the blacks was just marching, and they wasn't integrated. Remember that's when they had went through the whole beating and all of that. But notice when they came back integrated, they couldn't be touched, and that's when the voting rights happened because the voting represent what? Gaining the voice. But when you understand the whole aspect going back to Hawaii, made out of fire, out of, you know what I mean? That's like practically like it's hell's paradise. I just put it like in that sense. This is why I said the Pacific Ocean is the horse latitudes. That's why Little Nas X had to do the Old Town Road with the horses. And then now you notice he had the video when he was sitting on Satan's lap like a horse. Because it's showing they reeling in that whole hell agenda. I'm gonna get into it real deep. But pay attention how they in a red car because this car, the red car represents nothing but the Messiah's crucifixion. You feel what I'm saying? I'm gonna get into that in a minute. And then you notice how with that, how he able to get the money because it's the serpent on the pole, aka nothing but like the Mercury serpent on the pole. You see what I'm saying? I'm gonna get into this. But when you understand the whole aspect, the car, aka Car L, is nothing but like the royal sacred bull representing the most high, then L represent nothing but the royal um like the royalty, the rod of royalty. You see what I'm saying? Rulership. But this stuff is that deep, man. Let's keep this thing rolling. Deep as she died at 39. And all 39 mean is God is one. And when you understand that on the movie, the new King Kong Godzilla movie, and I'm gonna show it for those who don't. I'm gonna, not show the clips, but I'm gonna explain. Like, you remember King Kong was on the ship when he had to fight Godzilla, and remember he was near Hawaii because he was in Skull Island. Skull Island is literally near Hawaii, y'all. Come on, man. This stuff is right in our face. See, Skull Island is by Hawaii. And as it's written, the Messiah was crucified in the land of Golgotha, aka the Skull Island. This is why you have the Skull and Bones fraternity. And remember, you have Godzilla was in Pensacola, Florida, when he was trying to destroy Pensacola, Florida. Remember that. But when you pay attention to it, King Kong, in order for him to get up, remember he was chained up because he wanted to fight Godzilla, but he was chained up, so he couldn't fight until he had to break the chains. Notice what number he pulls up. The ship he pulls out is what? It got number 39 on it. What age did she die? Like I said, she died at 39 years old. Let's keep this thing rolling. Plane was number 7, yo. Hint that the whole aspect of the God number. And when you understand her dying in the sea, let me get deep into this. Because when you understand her dying in the sea, as it's written in 2nd Ezra 13, as I watched this wind made something like the figure of a man come up out of the heart of the sea. Her name is Amelia Earhart. But I'm going to delve deep into what all of this means because as it's written anyway in scripture, and if I'm not mistaken, it's Zechariah. Yeah, Zechariah 2:6. You know, the Most High said that He spread abroad His people as the four winds of heaven. So pay attention to how it says that the winds made the figure of a man come up out of the heart of the sea, and that man was flying among the clouds of heaven. Let's get this thing rolling. Gulf of Mexico, where she left at. The whole aspect, like the whole aspect of Florida, Louisiana. And remember how I said that they saw the man flying above the clouds, like in the heavens, representing nothing but the Most High, the Messiah. Because as it's written, the four living creatures, one of the appearances was the eagle. You notice how that's the eagle right here in the Gulf of Mexico by Louisiana. And notice the 21. I'm gonna get into that in a minute because if you look at the end of it, at the end of the eagle, you got 21, which represent nothing but 21st century, man, of the return. But let's take this even deeper because one more time, I read it one more time. As I watched this wind made something like the figure of a man come up out of the heart of the sea. That was the man flying among the clouds of heaven. And let's take it even deeper because what it says too, just as no one can see out or know what is in the depth of the sea, so no one on earth can see my son or those who are with him, except in this time when his day has come. Pay attention to this, y'all. I just showed you the whole aspect. You see how I said that he coming out of the heart of the sea? Hint the whole aspect of Amelia Earhart. And then you see how it says too that no man was able to, see until the day of the time of his coming. Pay attention to the 21st century. That's why we're able to see it now because of technology. You're able to see what's going on, that he's near. Hint the whole aspect of the Gulf of Mexico. This is all to fulfill the whole aspect of the Exodus coming to fruition. Hint how it's near Louisiana. And when you understand Louisiana anyway, as it's written, the Louis Stone, remember I've been talking about the Louis Stone of Freemasonry, is the stone that the Freemasons reject to use. When you understand that. And like I said anyway about the um the stone that the Masons refuse to use has become the headstone of the corner. Hint the whole aspect of Louisiana. And when you know about King Kong, what's so deep about that, King Kong, remember who did he save? He used to want to save Anna. And remember? And then pay attention to King Kong too. He killing the serpent. This came out in 1976. I'm gonna get deep into this right quick. But when you pay attention to it, notice it's coming out in Blu-ray. This comes out in May, and this movie was made in 1976, right? But when you understand it too, what's so deep, notice it's coming out in Blu-ray, aka the Masonic G. And then when you pay attention to it, notice the moon shining while he's killing the serpent. The moon represents nothing but the whole aspect of like the moon god worshippers, aka the Masons. And then you see Anna right there, and in white, like over a pit of fire. Remember I said Hawaii is literally was made out of the aspect of like being made out of volcano eruptions. Hint the pit of fire, the ring of fire. Remember when I was talking about Amelia Earhart? Like this stuff is that deep, man. Notice it's in the wilderness too, because this represent nothing but the Masons not going to be able to stop the Messiah coming to save his bride, aka Israel. Let's keep this thing rolling. Out of where I said she left out of? Out of Florida. Where in the Tropic of Cancer, aka where what? Where it's like the highest point of temperature, for the sun and everything at noon. And what's so deep about that, when you understand that, the average temperature, she died in July. The average temperature in July is 76 degrees, y'all. Remember I said about the whole aspect of the point of the Bermuda Triangle pointing at the Gulf of Mexico. But what's so deep about that, when you understand this whole thing too, what tripped me out, remember I said King Kong came out in 1976. Now what happened with Amelia Earhart? Amelia Earhart died at 39 years old, and she died in 1937 in July, on July 2nd. What is that? That's 39 years before 1976, man. And let's keep this thing rolling because when you understand this too, what tripped me out about this, the whole aspect of the pyramid, like the cap of the pyramid that the Masons want to remove. Remember, I was talking about the whole aspect of the capstone that they want to remove and refuse to build with the Lewis stone being a Messiah. When you understand the top of the pyramid aspect is 76 degrees, man. Hint the whole aspect of the summer being the average temperature being 76 degrees. Hint Will Smith summertime, Billie Holiday summertime, and so many others. And remember, I've been talking about that anyway. Like Will Smith summertime, as it's written in scripture anyway. Matthew 24:32. Now learn the parable of a fig tree when his branch is yet tender and putteth forth leaves, ye know that the summer is near. Hint the whole aspect of Exodus 3:14. The Most High said that I am to Moses. That's his name. Hint Will I am said that I spit that. I'm this. I'm the blah blah blah, and I've been that since 1976. Billie Holiday. Billy is short for William, yo. Hint Summertime. Will Smith. Hint that he made the song Summertime. The 76, man. Come on, y'all. Let's keep this thing rolling. It's got to get deep in here. Cancer season is nothing but the aspect of the crab lifting, you know what I mean? Because when you understand the waters anyway, it's like John the Baptist, who's basically announcing the coming of the Messiah. And when you understand the waters, you got to go through the rebirth aspect of being born again through the waters. Hence the whole aspect of the crab representing the arms lifting you up to the heavens. And I'm gonna get deep on that right quick because when you understand that too, this is why um this is why they love to eat crab Lewis salad. You feel what I'm saying? Because I'm talking about the aspect of the crab representing the arms of heaven, Louis representing nothing but the Lewis stone. You feel what I'm saying? It's that deep. This is why, like Rachel Ray, you see what I mean? That was one of her recipes. Notice she's throwing up the devil horns, man. Look at that. It's no way around this. Come on, y'all. Let's keep this thing rolling because remember when I was talking about it too, about the whole aspect of like them liking to eat crab because crab legs, aspect crab leg Louis salad. And when skull and bones, the fraternity, everybody says skull and bones comes from Golgotha, representing the Messiah being crucified in the land of the skull. Look at how they got their legs like in a sense of being crippled because that represents nothing but Jacob, the head, forefather of the 12 tribes of Israel. When remember he wrestled with the angel all night, his hip was put out of socket. So it's like being crippled. Let's keep this thing rolling, man. It's crazy stuff. How she took out in the Gulf of Mexico. Well, she took out in the Atlantic, which is not far from the Gulf of Mexico. And when you understand that anyway, what is so deep about that is because as it's written too in Luke 16:26, and besides all this, between us and you, there is a great gulf fixed so that those who want to pass from here to see you cannot, nor can those from there pass to us. That represents the boundaries the Most High got to protect his saints, yo. Pay attention to everything that's about to go down. You feel where I'm going with this? This stuff is that deep because, as it's written anyway in Genesis 50, pay attention to this. But as for you, ye thought evil against me, but God meant it unto good to bring it to pass, as it is this day to save much people alive. Hint Genesis 50, aka like 50 states. Let's keep this thing rolling. To Amelia Earhart, how they said they couldn't find her, like they're looking for her. And it's so deep because when you understand Revelation 18:17, for in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught, every shipmaster and all the company and ships and sailors, they saw the great city in the sea, burn in 1 hour, aka the mighty Babylon. And when you understand that too, the spiritual Babylon, spiritual Egypt, spiritual Sodom and Gomorrah, being America. And when you understand this too, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, this is why they had to win in Florida and Tampa Bay at the Super Bowl. Because you notice what are they? They are nothing but the pirates, yo. Let's keep this thing flowing because what do a pirate do? A pirate try to watch the seas for treasure. And remember, and I was already talking about it anyway in the last scripture that I was speaking on about as it's written, just as no one can seek out nor know what is in the depth of the sea. So no one on earth can see my son or those who with him. You know what I mean? That represents nothing but the whole aspect of the Messiah coming up out of the sea. What do a pirate do? A pirate wants to watch the seas, yo. Let's keep this thing flowing, man. Look at this. I mean, it's right in our faces. Hint the aspect of the pirate. Notice the one leg aspect for like how they used to do in the satanic church. You know what I mean? The skull and bones. And hint the aspect of, remember DMX had that one song too, Angel. Notice how he got the same one leg up, just like the pirate. Come on, y'all. Let's keep this thing flowing. She died during a Cancer constellation. When you understand the Cancer constellation, they have the beehive cluster, which is what? The mangers in Latin. And you remember the Messiah was born in a manger. And when you understand the whole aspect of this too, which is so deep, is because as it's written with the beehive cluster with the Cancer, and a time, and after a time he returned to take her. This is Judges 14:8. And in a time he returned to take her, and returned aside to see the carcass of the lion. And behold, there was a swarm of bees and honey in the carcass of a lion. That lion is talking about is the Messiah. And the honey and bees representing nothing that the lion is pure and clean, is come to bring, forth to be the new one coming forth. You see what I'm saying? Represent nothing but the Messiah coming in rulership. Hence the whole aspect of the beehive cluster being the manger in the constellation of Cancer. Remember I said how she died during July 2nd, which is Cancer season. You feel where I'm going? The Lakers and Heat were in a bubble playing in the NBA Finals because that represents nothing but, remember LeBron playing for the Lakers. This was all for Kobe anyway, but LeBron playing for the Lakers, the lakes and the seas and the fire, aka the lake of fire. Remember when I was talking about how she died and the whole aspect of being in the Pacific Ocean, aka the ring of fire? Let's take it up a notch right quick. In John 3:14, as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, so must the Son of Man be lifted up. Hence why Kobe is called the it's called the Black Mamba, aka the snake, because this whole ritual was nothing but for Antichrist. You feel what I'm saying? Hence how Kobe had to go down in a helicopter just like her. She was in a plane, but you know what I'm saying. But notice how he had died, allegedly dies. Chadwick Boseman died, what, like 6 months later from allegedly from colon cancer. And when you pay attention to that whole aspect, which is so deep, the colon is a part of what? The Virgo. Remember, that's the Virgin, aka the Virgin Church. Remember, Kobe was born August 23rd, which is nothing but the Virgo. So that represents nothing but the intestines. You feel what I'm saying? And what's so deep about that when you understand scripture as it's written, what does he ascended mean except that he also descended to the lower bowels of the earth, yo. Remember when I was talking about Amelia Earhart going into the ring of fire, and that represents her get eaten by crabs, that represent her ascending to the heavens? Pay attention to the whole thing with Kobe too. That's why the Lakers had to win that finals, and hence why they had to play in Orlando, because Orlando, like I said, is 28-degree coordinate. When you go west from Mount Sinai, it's 28-degree coordinate, the same, which is where the Exodus happened the first time, you know what I mean, in Egypt. 28-degree coordinate, and then you go west, you end up in Orlando, Florida, and then you go north, you end up in California on the same 28-degree coordinate. But what's so deep about that, which I noticed back in 1997 called The Sixth Sense with Marlon Wayans. And notice this was a Kobe. This is 1997, like a year after Kobe get drafted. And literally you have the guy wearing the Huskies jersey 24. Notice Kobe wore number 24. And notice that his daughter, when they did like a UConn, they retired her jersey. It's the Huskies. Come on, man. There's no way around this. Let's keep this thing rolling. And when Moses had lifted up the serpent representing nothing but the Messiah, the fiery serpent, this is why they had to do it. Remember Kobe the Black Mamba, they had to do the lake of fire ritual to rise him up as the Antichrist, like false serpent. Like they just was letting you know everything was coming into fruition. Hint Numbers 21, when that happened with Moses, they was getting ready to go into the promised land. They was on a voyage to the promised land. Notice why the NBA campus and Disney at the bubble. Notice why, remember, I don't like to say it, but Rona, you know what I mean? Look at right by the basketball arena is the Rona. Remember, Kobe was buried in Rona in Calabasas, Cali. And then when you look at it too, notice all of this stuff. You have the yacht club. Remember when I was talking about the whole aspect of the King Kong? Come on, y'all. And the sea, this stuff is right in our face. Then you got You got the kingdom right there, the animal kingdom theme park. You see that? Come on, man. Right by the arena. Pay attention to all of this. The Magic Kingdom. Let's keep this thing just flowing, man, because all that represented is nothing but the whole aspect of the Messiah rising up, man. This is all this stuff is talking about. Hence why the Magic Kingdom Park right above the arena is literally the wilderness and the seven seas, aka the seven seals of the Messiah. You know, opening the seven seals and the wilderness. It's no way around this stuff, man. There's no way around it. And when you look at it too, how I look at it like a bubble, you look at that like a dome. You feel what I'm saying? This is why the whole aspect of Kobe, him having to crash through the plane and all of that allegedly, you know what I mean? I ain't even gonna get into that. But when you look at it right here, notice when it happened. Pay attention to this cartoon. I'm gonna chime on in.
Oh shit! It's Kobe Bryant.
Help me.
Just pass me the trophies and we'll pull you out.
Pass.
Notice how through the fire comes the gold. And notice how he becomes the gold, because that represent what, the Messiah coming out, and you remember, out of the bowels of the earth and ascending on the third day, and then he's not able to be touched because he's unblemished and he's refined as gold. He was tried as gold. This is why Amelia Earhart had to go into the ring of fire, and then that's what the whole aspect was about. This whole thing is that deep, y'all. It's crazy. On my last video I had did, I believe it was my about when I said about the people going when the celebrities go to jail. The whole point of that, you can check out that vid. But the California and Florida, notice how they similar. Like I said, in geographic, like they both got the palm trees, both got the summer weather, etc. And you know, Cali don't mean nothing but goddess of death. In Florida don't mean nothing but the whole aspect of like the cosmic womb, like the hibiscus fruit. That's all it represents. So notice how that's the cosmic womb, and then notice how the whole aspect of going into the ring of fire. And you already know they want to kill the Messiah anyway. Hint the whole aspect of they used to give the goddess of death the hibiscus fruit. Cali in Florida. Pay attention to that. Ring of fire. You feel where I'm going with this? This is why Obama was literally born in Hawaii. You feel where I'm going? This is why Obama had to be born in Hawaii, man, because it represents nothing but the whole aspect of the, like, you remember I said how Hawaii was formed. That's why it became the 50th state, because Hawaii was literally formed, or was literally created by chaos and fire, man. Come on now, brimstone and fire. Remember I already said how she 39 year, how she died at 39, which is the same year Dr. King and Malcolm X died. Remember I said 39 years after her death, she it was 1976. Remember I mentioned that. But notice how literally she died in 1937, 22 years later, Hawaii is made a state. Remember I said Obama is from Hawaii, and how significant, because he plays a role of an antichrist, man. I'm gonna get into that later on, like on another video. Say that for another day. But notice how Selma and Montgomery marched in order to get the vote. Hawaii had to be obviously in the scene. Integration knows work. Hawaii knows integration works. So that was basically letting you know that hell and everything coming together, good and evil, fire and brimstone, bringing forth beauty. That's all that represented with the Hawaii aspect. You feel where I'm going? That's why Obama had to be born in Hawaii, and hit the whole aspect of how, like I said, 22 years after her date, Hawaii was made a state in 1959, and it was in August 21st, which is during the time of what? The Virgo. Remember that. It was during the time of the Virgo, aka they trying to sit at the church. You feel what I'm saying? And when you understand 22, that represents nothing but the whole aspect of like the cross becoming a cube. Because when you understand a cube, it's like literally it literally equalizes. Like when you denominate it down as 22, like in the sense of face and everything. But when you understand that the cross represents the crucifixion, and when you fold it up, it becomes a cube, aka what? Saturn, the black planet, which is nothing but the god of time and the god of like chaos, everything, of darkness, brimstone. You feel what I'm saying? And I'm actually going to end that right here. I just really want to touch on this aspect. Thank you for watching Hide and Seek TV. Much more is coming. Peace.